Hello, you're watching Ellie from Ellymentry Papercrafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK. It's a very cold Wednesday morning here and I'm wrapped up warm as I can be. Blanket over my legs. It really is chilly here today, so I'm just going to be as quick as I can be. So I'm bringing you some items today which appear in our new mini catalogue, which goes live to the public in January and runs through to the end of April. So I have products from here to work with today. And then I'm going to be showing you an item that you can obtain for free. So everything in this little catalogue is absolutely free. So it's when you purchase something either from our mini catalogue or the annual catalogue. So if you spend £45, you get an item free, okay, which you can choose. So let me start with the project. So I'm going to be using the two-tone floral set, which I did use on my live on Saturday, so you've seen it once from me. And I'm also going to be using a free item from the Celebration catalogue, which is this fabulous 12 by 12 inch designer series paper. And I believe there are 48 sheets in here. Yeah, it's 48 sheets, 4 each of 12 double-sided designs. And the colours that they've used are Balmy Blue, Calypso Coral, Fresh Freesia, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody and Petal Pink. So the sheet I'm going to use is this one. So it's the dots on one side and this lovely design in Petal Pink on the other. Quite out of my comfort zone this, but I'm going to use this side. So I'll just quickly flick through the top of here so you can see some of the lovely designs here. Let's just flick it through the other way. So as you can see, there's a huge variety and probably you know, something everybody can use, and that's totally free. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this down to make it easier to work with. I'm just going to cut a piece off like that. You can see I've already had a play with this. Now from this lovely two-tone Flora set, I'm going to use the dies. Okay, now this beautiful die, it is just gorgeous, and I decided rather than just cut it out of a piece of plain coloured cardstock, I'd use the designer series paper and you know, make a nice sort of design out of this. So I'm just going to go and cut this out on my cut and emboss machine, so I'll be back in a couple of seconds. So here we have the die cut out. It's really easy to get all the bits out. You just flick it with your hand like this, and I just trimmed up the side to make all the edges even. Now if I put that on white, as you can see on my desk, it's not really going to show up very well. So my idea is to use some Night of Navy cardstock, and as soon as I put that underneath, can you see how all the design really shows up? So that's what I'm going to go with. My card base is A5, as we call this in Britain, and A5 is a piece of the cardstock as it comes in A4. I score it down the centre and fold it, and this becomes A5. And if you've watched me before, you'll know I tend to cut a little bit off the end here, so I make this 11.5, and that makes it easy. You just score, burnish and fold at 5 3/4, and that gives you your card front. So I'm going to pop my Night of Navy layer onto the card. So my idea is to mount this onto the top of my card, but I'm going to put it at a bit of a jaunty angle. I think that always looks a bit nicer. If you just put it straight, it's a little bit boring. So I like to just bring it down a bit like this. Now, what I've done ahead of time, because it does take time to do all the stamping, but I've taken the largest images, this one and this one, together with this beautiful leaf here and these, and I've stamped them in colours from the paper. Okay, so I've used the Granny Apple Green, and for that one, and also I've done lots here because I wanted to get them cut out ahead of time, and then the little duo leaf there, that one. So I've used the Granny Apple Green for that, and then I've done the two-tone stamping here and cut these out already, but I will show you how I line that up, because it is when you know how to do it, it's really easy, but if you don't know, you could get you know, a bit confused and not know how to do it. So I'm going to just show you with one. I'm taking the Fresh Freezer first of all, so that's one of the colours in my cardstock, and I'm taking the detailed stamp. Okay, so ink up my stamp. I think this actually does need re-inking, but I don't really have the time or inclination to do that in this cold weather. The rest of my body's warm, it's just my feet. And I'm using Mango Melody because, again, that's in my designer series paper. And I'm using the plainer stamp. Now, if you look here, there are these little sort of stamens coming out in the middle. And you can also see them in the middle of that stamp. Now, that's what I line up. Line those up, and then the rest of your petal will sit beautifully on here. I find it's easier to do the darker colour first, the detail. I seem to be able to line that up better. So I bring it down here so that I'd like to look over it, but I'll get my head in the camera. So I'm hoping that that's as close as I can get. So I just leave that for a second or two for the ink to transfer, and then you'll see that it lines up really well with the detail, and I did manage to get that spot on look. So that's how you do it, and then you just take the matching die and line that up and then cut it out. You can see it's really obvious where you cut that out, and I just stick some post-it note over this just to keep it steady while it's going through the machine. So that's the stamping and the die cutting done. So let's just put the card together. So I'm going to just put some glue all the way around the outside. It looks very pretty in that side as well, doesn't it? Could use either side. But I'm going with this side today. I'm going to pop my silicone mat down, so I don't want to get glue on that paper there. And I'm just not squeezing very hard at all, so I don't get too much glue. On here, and then I'm going to take my trusty tweezers so I don't get glue on my fingers. Always helps if you open up your card, keep this dead flat. So I'm going to pop it at an angle like so. I'm just making sure that it doesn't go off the edge there, and not there, that's it. Now, a little bit of the glue might just come out, but don't worry about it. If you just take it off with your fingernail, just run your fingernail down the side like that, and that will take the glue off straight away. like so. It sort of dries on your finger and you can rub it away. It's lovely. Now, I quite like these bits coming up in the middle. It just gives it a little bit of dimension, I think. But if you don't like that effect, you can always, when you cut this out, you can cut it out with our double-sided adhesive sheet. It runs through the die cutting machine without any problem at all. Then you can just peel it off and stick it on if you want it to be completely flat. So taking the flowers we've cut out and the leaves, I'm now going to have a little play around and see where I think I want these to go. I like doing opposite corners. So I think I might have one here perhaps. We might have a cluster of 2 at the top here. And then I can play with my bits of greenery. So perhaps one there and maybe here. And then I might mimic that on the other side. Like so. I don't stick anything down at this stage. I'm just placing things down, thinking about where I might like to put things. And then I've got these smaller leaves and I can place these. Doesn't this Granny Apple Green look gorgeous against the Night of Navy? When I first saw this stamp pad, I thought, oh, I'm not going to like that. That's too bright. It looks very bright. It looks like neon. And I really thought I wasn't going to like it. But I really do. So let's have a little think about this. I like it against the navy. So I think I'll pop it so that it highlights on the navy. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Perhaps like that. I think I'm going to change my mind here and have this running down there, and these can go here. That's right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my Stampin' Up snips just to cut these apart, because it always looks better if you've got an odd number. So I'm going to pop, I've got 4 there, and I think it would look better if we have just a 5th one here. Let me put it up the other way, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. So let's pop the leaves down first. And I'm just going to, if I put the glue actually on the card, I know where I wanted it. And it's fine having that excess glue on the card because the flower is going to go on top of it. So just like that. And then I can pop my flowers down. I like the effect of just coming off onto the white, just a little bit. And then we can just put a little touch of glue on there. And I also like the effect of the edges of these leaves coming up, not stuck down. And the same with the flower, it's coming up at the edge. I like that, much nicer than just laying it flat. Bit difficult using my glue in my left hand. There. There. So that's all my decoration down. And now I'm going to add a sentiment to this. So I'm just thinking about where I might want that to go. What I do know is that I will stamp it in the Night of Navy. And it's quite an ornate card, so I'm going to choose quite a basic happy birthday font. So this one's quite big, and it's from Artistically Inked. Okay, so let's just bring in my piercing mats. Makes it a good surface to stamp on. Although with this cling, this is thick, actually I don't really have to have anything underneath this. Ink that up well. Stamped, and I've stamped it right in the middle because at this point I'm not sure what I'm going to use to cut this out. So leave enough room for a die to pop round there. So I'm thinking it could either go like that or straight. I was thinking about the top, but I don't know. Actually, maybe here. Right, I'm going to find a die to cut this out and then we'll see where it looks best. I think I might end up with my old favourite, which is this one from Ornate Frames. Yeah, I think it's going to be this one. I do like this one. So let's just get this cut out. So this can go diagonally. It can go straight across. I could tuck it under here. I could tuck it under there. I actually think that because everything's on an angle, I actually think this will look better if it's just straight across. Now I'm just going to finish this off picking out the green here with some little sequins. So this is from the pack that has all three colours. Very, very good value pack, this one. And they're mixed sequins, mixed greens. And there's a little bit of sparkle in here too. So I like to just tip a few into the lid. And then pop a little bit of glue here and there. A little bit too much, so I'm just going to go in with my finger and take some of that glue off and pop some of these on. Now these are all different. Some of them are glittery, some of them are sparkly, some of them are like a sort of mirror like those. Some are round, some are hexagonal. And that's what I really like about these. They are all different. So we'll pop one more on there. I'm just trying to get just a touch. That's what I wanted. And I've got a nice sparkly one here. I've got my eye on. Just to finish that corner off, just to give it a little bit of something different. And then you can just fold your card back in and give that a good burnish there. So that's today's card. I do hope you've enjoyed today's demonstration. If you're interested in purchasing anything from Stampin' Up, from either of our current catalogues, then look in the description box below and you'll see a link to the downloadable digital catalogues to see what's available, and also a link to my online store. Thank you very much for watching today. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up to show you like the video, and if you're not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you did. So I'm going to say cheerio now, and I hope to see you live on Saturday at 2:30. Bye-bye for now.